tip-top sets that are now going out. They used to be called the new scribe set by the Mawboards, but let's just go through what they are, you know, so you don't really need to know the name. They are basically all the same size, all the different ones regardless of the name, and I think maybe that's what needs to be addressed. So I'm just going to run through quickly exactly how you'd make the templates. Now the first one, you know, when you get to 7-8 inches, it's basically the 45 template that goes with the Mawboard. So it basically that template for that set, that way of fitting that the Mawboards are for a 7-inch plank. The rest of it, you know, it's got nothing to do with the name on the top. It has only got, you know, what to do with the size of whatever the template is. There have been variations of how to make the templates, which has been actually, like, you know, progressed and moved much further on over the last 4 or 5 years. But you know, it's still the same thing. So I think rather, you know, it's more case of like teach a man to fish rather than feed a man to fish. So we're just going to start off with like the normal one, which is the 3-inch. Okay, so I think it was Pipe Finder 3 or 4 or whatever the one was that became then altered to become the scribe template size for a 3-inch tile regardless of length. But it also comes with the fact that it won't work if the wall is out. So that is the same case as all the others, but how they're all made and together, you know, the mathematical way, if you were to make them that way, will be the result of what you get, you know. The traditional fit is just the distance of the 45 of the tile. The Mawboard one, apparently, you know, is half of that, you know. It wasn't the way I worked it out. Jeff taught me, you know, we just scribed one in perfectly, dropped it back in place, turned the tile, stabbed it, and that was it. It was actually only later on that I realised, you know, how it all works in regards to doing it based on just those sizes. But anyway, that'll probably get it more confusing than just showing you. So I'm just going to show you some, you know, a way that maybe can relate to you to what you've seen out there. So I'm just going to quickly make the 3-inch scribe probably the same way others may have done it, but it's basically this size. Okay, I'm going to make 2 quickly and I'll show you why. Now that will scribe in a 3-inch tile providing the wall is square. So let's show how others have made theirs. They've called it non-parallel scribe and or offset scribe. Regardless of name, you've just got to understand that they are all the same. And once we get past that bit, we can then move on to the other part, which is putting 2 of these together. You may have seen things out there where the 2 are taped together, which in all honesty, you know, has been a recent one that's come about, but it's actually quite genuine, as it's nothing like, you know, it's not mine. And it is actually quite original because it does use the only method of fitting that the Mawboards have never gone near, and that is that now that size there is now the traditional fit, which is what most will teach, you know, the 45 of a tile. So you have to move the tiles into position, and this template will then scribe them in square on, and it will be just as accurate as a holly board, but you'll have to move the parts about. If you're dropping it back one, you're just using the single part of the template, which is what all of these are, regardless of the size. So that one there, you know, that is what that one becomes when you see that. But how the interesting part, or not interesting part, is that you can now also call this one the 6-inch scribe. I'm not going to write all the bloody names, but I'm just trying to get a point, because the 2 3s now become the same size as a 6-inch scribe template if you were working just dropping it back one with its size. So if you had that, you know, you just got to figure out the math yourself, I guess. You could then, in fact, this would be, you know, the 6-inch, I don't know what you call it, traditional scribe. It's basically, it's the only one I'm not, you know, clued up. I've never bothered using this one. So, you know, you would have 2 of these together. If you put those 2 together, that's giving us that. So yeah, that one becomes the template for the 6-inch, doing it the other way. But at the same time, if you've got the 2 6s, it's also a 12-inch, you know, scribe. But just dropping it back by its size. And that's how the whole math thing works. But it only works if you're basically, you know, if there's rules. If it's just the way the Mawboard, if it's just dropping it back one with Herringbone, these ones work so quickly and perfectly, providing the wall is square. But if you know, if you start looking at how they are, you could put, once you've got a few of the templates, even just the pipe finder with most of it, you know, you can start making all the others. You can put a 6 and a 3, cut that, that's going to give you the 9-inch, which I did cut one from earlier, but if I set that like that, but again, you haven't got to confuse yourself with this or learn it unless you want it. 9-inch. But the point was trying to make across in that lot, regardless of what you call it, with that way, it is only the size of the tile that matters. And the reason this set comes out, you've got every one of them that you want to need, but it gives you the 4.5, and it also gives you the 4, but we've got the 4-inch scribe tool with the other ones with the Mawboards. But it was, I don't know whether this video would be a good one or one I'll make later on, but the point of it is trying to get across of stop the mystery with the template. So if it's going on the math side of it and that lot, you can only make those 2 sizes. Only one will work if the wall is square. Exactly the same as a TikTok set is available, but you know, for them to work, or if the wall is out, you will have to go, you know, put 2 together and then start moving it into position to scribe, which is the only method I've never shown, never done, and never really got involved in because it wasn't anything to do with mine. So hopefully that one will quickly show you. I'm going to try and make one, you know, as a quick video to show them all in action to prove the point that it really doesn't matter about the size. And then hopefully that will clear that up for, you know, for the future. Because if it keeps going back and forth with everyone thinking that something can come out and be called something different, and you guys are buying it, you know, maybe there's a bigger problem deep rooted in there somewhere we can fix. But don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of it.